Hey guys, just going to check and make sure that everything's good and we're live right now. A little background music while we're waiting. Scroll down. Wait for technology to catch up. Okay. Looks like we're good. Hey guys, it's Kevin from Relax and Learn Guitar. Welcome back tonight. Excited to be here for a live question and answer for Relax and Learn Guitar, and I'm going to be answering some questions from the members in Relax and Learn Guitar, my membership. And these are folks that have joined the membership. I'm having a blast talking to them and working with them. Looks like we've got folks coming on. So as you come on, if you could maybe please just say your name and where you're from, just so I know who's here. And I'm going to be answering some questions that members have asked me that I thought would be a good idea to put it all kind of together so that everyone can benefit from the answers. And if you have further questions, you can for sure ask those too. So Relax and Learn Guitar is a website that I put together. It is for what I call second halfers who want to learn how to play the guitar and relax and enjoy music. And it's been around for a little bit. I've got some folks that are joining and having a really good time working with them, seeing a lot of progress, which is great to see. So I've asked for some questions to be sent in. I've got about 4 or 5 already, but if there's folks watching that also have questions, go ahead and type those in the comments and we will get to them as soon as we can. Otherwise, I'm just planning on going through and answering them as we go, and you guys can catch up if you're coming in late. You can always catch them in the replay, so that's not going to be a problem. I see Jim's here. Hey Jim, thanks for coming in. And we've got Bob. Is it Bob from the membership? That is good. Okay, before I go any further, I just got to tell you that Bob and I have been messing with technological gremlins. I just got to share this all day. So, love technology. If it wasn't for technology, wouldn't have the website and the group and all this and be able to play guitar with people. However, technology sometimes can be a big pain. So, hopefully you've got all the emails back. We were going back and forth today with some questions he was asking and answers I was trying to give him. And yes, Bob for membership, coffee in hand, excellent. And we got Jeffrey on there too. Hey Jeffrey, thanks for joining in tonight. So yeah, that's my little story about Bob and I messing with technology today. So I think we got all ironed out. Hopefully we don't have any technological issues this evening as we do these questions and answers, and we can all make it work. So we got Jim, Bob, there we go. The other piece with Relax and Learn Guitar, why I kind of really want folks to learn how to play, it's just a perfect way to relax. It's a great way to have the best kind of hobby in the world, in my opinion. And you're never really too old to learn. So I think that no matter how old you are, you can always learn something new. And it just feels really good when you do. So, all right, let's jump into the questions. I had a question from Jeff in the membership. And he asked me about a strum pattern for Ripple, which is a song by the Grateful Dead, if you haven't heard it. One of my favorites by them. And he had been working on trying to find a nice steady strum pattern to use. So I'm going to play the song a little bit and then show you kind of the strum pattern I would use first starting out on this song. So Ripple is in the key of G, so you'll need to know a G, and there's a C. Lou joined. Hey Lou, thanks for joining in. A G, a C, and a D just for this part. So this is Ripple by Grateful Dead. And my suggested strum pattern for him is just a straight kind of bass down up. Oh, Jim's got a good question. You like write them down so I can get to them? You got that one written down? Hey Jim, thanks for the question. We'll get to those once I get through this Grateful Dead song here. So for the Grateful Dead song Ripple, I suggest using a bass down up, bass down up, bass down up, bass down up pattern. And the way the song goes is a little kind of a little country rock tune, more country than rock maybe. Down, bass, down, bass, down. So you can use that pattern all the way through the song, just to sing it a little bit so you guys would know what you're going for. He starts with this. If my words do glow with the gold of sunshine, and my tunes were played on the harp unstrung, would you hear my voice come through the music? Would you hold it near as it were your own? It's a hand-me-down, bass down, a bass down, a bass down. All the way through that whole song. The little beginning part there is just a little lick he does using your index finger on the 5th string 2nd fret. So it's just 2, open 2, 3, then open on the 4th string. Bass down, a bass down, a bass down, a bass down. You can use that pattern through the whole song, and it's probably a good place to start with that one. If you play along with the record, he's doing some cool little licks and runs in there in between, but this kind of basic strum and rhythm pattern will get you through it. So Jeff, I would suggest you start there with it. And just don't even play any chords. Just when you're first starting out to learn the pattern, just bass down, a bass down, a bass down, a bass down. Okay? And we'll do a little in between each question. So, all right, Brad. Brad's in the house. Welcome, Brad. Glad you came in.
Jim wanted to know how to stop putting pressure on himself just to play the guitar better.
Ah, Jim, also from the membership. That's a tough one. So I guess it all depends on why you want to play better. So I'm a big proponent of if it sounds good, it is good. So probably my biggest suggestion there is to be comfortable with what you're playing. Of course, relax a little bit while you're learning it. And honestly, if you play a little bit each day, you'll be amazed at what that does to get you to progress and get better without always being like, oh, I've got to learn this or get this right. So I guess it's kind of like practice a little bit each day. And what I mean by practice is work on something that's new or maybe difficult for you for 5-10 minutes, and then play stuff you're comfortable with, and you'll get better at that. And I'd also say choose like one thing at a time. You can only do one thing at a time, so if there's one thing you want to get good at, choose what that is. If that's scales, you can practice the scales each day. If that's a certain chord or changing chords, then practice that part each day. Or if it's a special song you want to learn, just break it down in little bite-sized parts. Start at the bottom, learn the basics, and kind of work up. And I know Jim shared that he went to a bluegrass jam this week with some buddies, and those are a blast, and they can also be a little intimidating because I've seen some folks at jams that are like, why are these people not making millions of dollars playing music? They've been playing their whole lives and they're just spectacular at it. So I'd also say, like, don't compare yourself to others. So everyone's kind of in a different spot of where they are when they're learning and playing. They're on a different part of their journey. So, just kind of reflect on where you are, how long you've been playing, and just get better yourself. Getting to the top will eventually get there. So, good question, though. All right, the second question was from Bob in the membership, and it was a question about wrist position. So I'm going to do my best to kind of hold my guitar a little funky so you can see what we're going for. But he had a question about how to hold his wrist because he was had said that he, had been playing and he was starting to get some, pain and some maybe weakness or cramps in his wrist. And when that's happening, I don't know if you were working on bar chords or not, because those can do it. So I talk a lot about where to hold your thumb, which also kind of helps where your wrist is going to be. But when you're playing the guitar, I'm going to sit sideways. Let's see here. Got a little delay, so I'm hoping you can see. Can you see my hand on there?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I'm playing like open chords, usually you'll see my thumb and my wrist is pretty straight. Like it's not always going to be straight.
You're down a little bit.
There?
Mm-hmm.
It's not always going to be straight, but you want it to be as straight as possible. When you're playing open chords mostly on the neck, your thumb is going to kind of be up here, maybe middle part to the upper part of your neck. I got big hands, so my thumb kind of hangs over sometimes. But you see me playing those like open chords, you really want your wrist to be as straight as possible. And that's exactly straight. When you're playing bar chords, we probably have a tendency to really bend the wrist. And you're kind of doing that so you can reach around and get all the pressure up on your fingers that you need to get. So sometimes that's going to give you kind of like this shape of your wrist. And that's what you don't want to do. If you're doing that for a long period of time, you're going to get tired fast, and I already feel it just holding right here, like in the tendons right here in my arm. So one thing you can do, if you got a guitar strap, one suggestion I have, is you can just, even if you're sitting down and playing, put your guitar strap around you. Get a little more situated here. And when you're doing that, that kind of takes the pressure off having to hold it up a little bit and use your leg. You can just, the strap does the work for you. And you can sometimes square up your shoulders and move this neck. So when you're playing a bar chord, your wrist is more like this instead of this. If you're going like this, it's going to hurt after a while and get old real fast. But if you kind of use like that, and then just kind of pay attention to where your strap is, if you square up your shoulders and bring your neck up a little bit. That's why you see people like, when I was growing up, it was not cool to play like the Beatles. I was in like the alternative 90s, and you see like early Beatles, and they've got the guitars up high like this. There's a reason. That's probably the easiest way to play for your hands, and they used to play for hours and hours and hours on end. It wasn't all kind of like the guitar hanging down here. So one suggestion is to use your guitar strap, have it do the work for you, so when you're playing chords, you have a wrist position that looks more like this. So, hope that helps you. Put this back off. Ugh. All right, the other question had from the membership was... Actually, I had a couple of questions from members about this next topic, which was related to how to send in videos and audio recordings to me for feedback. So I think I'm going to work on an email out to members to let them know. One thing you can do for the videos part is to go ahead and get a YouTube account. You can get those for free. Basically just have to have a Google account to get one. And you can record. It's very easy to record YouTube videos, especially on your phone, and then send them easily from your phone by email to me. And just make them unlisted so you don't have to worry about people watching videos if you don't want them to see them. And some of the members have done that. It's been working really well. That way I can get the videos, take a look, and then get back to you with some feedback. If you don't mind other people seeing your stuff or hearing your stuff, the easiest part is probably the Facebook group. You can just pop up your phone on Facebook, in the Facebook group, the private group, and just record right to it, and I can see them that way. And audio-wise, you could use your phone, any type of voice recorder app. There's one built into my phone that's pretty decent, actually. So I've had some members that have just, they didn't want to do the video part, but they wanted to just record the audio, and then I was able to, they emailed that to me for me to hear the audio part, which is just as good, to be able to give you some feedback on how you're doing. I had probably like 2 or 3 members asked me that question. And then another question about recording was from, was Bill here? Hey Bill, thanks for coming in tonight. Another question from Bob in the membership was about more specific recording stuff. I'm gonna take a drink of water there. Bob had asked me about, he had been doing some small gigs with around town, which is awesome. Highly encourage people to do those if they can. Hey, Bill. And he had asked about, like, there's got to be an easier way to be able to, play guitar and play along with a backing track. And specifically, like, backing track stuff that he had done. So, which is even cooler if you're experimenting with just kind of making your own music stuff. And some research, there is so much stuff out there. It's actually really overwhelming. It's almost like when you're looking for guitar lessons, there's so much stuff. It's nice to have one place to go to, which is what I kind of aim to do with the membership. But with the recording stuff, he was using a software program called Band in a Box. I've never used that program myself, but he said he really liked it, and it was pretty easy to use. I found with most software there's going to be somewhat of a learning curve, so no matter what you choose, it's going to take you a little bit of time to kind of get used to using it. But what I suggest, if you like that program, he could just record that on his laptop and then maybe plug that laptop into some speakers or a small PA when he's out recording or out playing music with a church or at the small gigs around town that he does with the group that he's in. And the only software I could probably speak to specifically if you want to get into recording your own stuff is I'm a big user of MacBook and Apple, and GarageBand is a really good program. And if you don't want to mess with like the bigger version of it, the app is actually really pretty good. So for Apple users out there, and by no means am I getting any money for talking about Apple products. I wish it was, but the app for GarageBand, and you could probably use that on an iPad, there's a lot you can do with that app. So if you wanted to maybe check that out for less investment of actual software, I have done some recording with GarageBand. There's some stuff on my YouTube channel, a couple of original songs. If you guys want to check those out on the YouTube channel, you can get an idea of what GarageBand can do. But with all those software programs, it's a matter of probably just finding one you're comfortable with and learning it enough to be good enough at it for it to work for you. And then as far as like playing along with that out, it's probably just a matter of getting a large enough speaker or plugging it in for other people to hear. So, Bob, I hope Band in a Box keeps working for you, and you can try that out with plugging in the laptop idea. But for others who want to just kind of check out recording stuff, my recommendation is to use GarageBand, just because you can record directly into it. You can use a microphone or plug your guitar right in. If it's electric, if it's acoustic, the microphone's pretty good and can pick it up. And all the stuff I've used with it has been pretty simple. Ron, I agree with you, Jim. Oh. So Ron, I think, was saying how to stop. So is that what you're saying, Ron? That you wanted to know how to stop putting pressure on yourself to play better? Yeah, Jim asked that question earlier, and I talked a lot about like avoiding comparing yourself to other people, especially first starting out. No matter what the gurus tell you, it's not something that's going to be fast, and you do have to work at it. You do have to be dedicated at it. But it's so rewarding once you are. If you see some progress, if you keep doing it, you'll just keep seeing more progress. Okay, the next question I have for tonight, where we at? Okay, we got some time. So, and this one, we might not finish the entire answer because it's kind of a big topic. Bob had also asked about, it's funny, he said, well, I've discovered that choosing a strum pattern is kind of important. So yes, it is. And a question about how to choose a strum pattern when you're making up a song, making up things, writing stuff. And do musicians use like the same strum pattern through the whole song, or do they change it around? So that's a big, big topic. I'm going to try and kind of break it down a little bit for you guys as an answer. You know me, I'm big on rhythm and being good at that and being a focus of things to get better at is the first thing is to be in rhythm. And I do a lot of stuff with the strum patterns and teaching people those. So as far as choosing them, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. And some of the most important pieces is going to be style of music, is probably number one. If you're doing a country song and you're going to probably, or bluegrass, you're going to do more of a strum that's kind of that bass down or bass down. If you're doing more of a rock, you might just have kind of full strums or bar chords maybe. If you're doing a waltz, so the style of the song you're working on is probably one of the first things to take into consideration before you choose a strum pattern. Number two is going to be kind of the tempo. So back to that kind of waltz kind of. With the waltz, you're going to have a much slower tempo than a fast tempo song. That's probably going to dictate what type of pattern you're going to use when you're strumming it. And then time signature is another one. So we'll kind of start there and build from there. So we do a lot of counting to four, right? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. It's more of the waltz. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And remember the ones is kind of the downbeat. So you'll hear kind of a basic beat is when the bass or kick drum. So you want to pay attention to what the bass drum is doing and what the snare drum is doing in a song. So with more of a kind of straightforward 4/4, just 1, 2, 3, 4. Your foot's tapping the floor. And the snare is probably on the 2 and 4 beat. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll hear that sometimes called like 4 on the floor. Not all patterns have a name, but that's a very, if you hear people talking about that, like it's a basic 4 on the floor. So 4 on the floor is the kick drum, the bass drum. Down on the floor basically on all the beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm hitting down here on my guitar kind of for the bass. And this is kind of the snare. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm kind of starting out with that kind of a basic, pretty common drum beat, because a drum beat really dictates what your strum pattern is going to be like. If you get that kind of thing going on, I might do something like this. So you have another thing you can do with strum patterns is kind of think of your bass strings, like these 6, 5, and 4 strings. That can be more like your kick drum. And your high strings can kind of be like the accent on your snare drum. So that's one other thing you can do with that is kind of choose kind of the bass strings for the accent of the bass drum, and the snare can be kind of the high strings. It's really going to depend like on that, the time signature of the one, 4/4. You could do stuff if it's slower, so you kind of down on the 2 and 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's another thing you could kind of choose to do with a 4/4 beat. With like a 6/8, where you kind of have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A little bluesier, so you might have like a. So it's kind of like a bluesy, slower 6/8 time would sound weird if you were doing this. It's going to sound weird if you want it to be bluesy, but that works for a more up-tempo song. So there's a lot to that answer. So much, in fact, I'm thinking about maybe just doing it more of an expanded answer in the future, maybe even a little mini workshop or mini answer question kind of thing going on, because there's a lot to go on with choosing it. And you also have like how complicated you want it to be. If you're playing with a band, you're going to choose a strum pattern that kind of matches the bass and drum. But if you're just playing the guitar and kind of accompanying yourself, you can pretty much make the strum pattern anything you want, as long as it sounds good. And the second part of that question was, do musicians kind of use the same strum pattern all the way through, or do they do different ones? When I write stuff, I like to kind of choose maybe a strum pattern for the chorus or the verse of the songs that might be more muted. For the verse, and then the chorus I might open it up and kind of strum, all the way through and change the dynamics of the song a little bit. So there's also dynamics to take into consideration. So there's no real easy answer, as you can see, for like how to choose the strum pattern, but there's a whole bunch of lessons in the membership about different strum patterns. And I would recommend you kind of start there as far as the ones that are out there, and just kind of get used to the basic downstroke and then down and up, and then move through until you find one that sounds good for the type of song you want to make. The one you shared with me with the kind of like bluesy Saturday rainy day thing was really awesome, I thought. And you had kind of just a basic 4 beat on that song, and it sounded great. So it's really just kind of experimenting and see what sounds right. So trying to see if there's been any more questions. Doesn't look like it so far. So those were the ones I had gotten from members this week in a membership to try and get back to. So hopefully that helps. Let me know, for those of you that are watching that asked a question, if I answered it good enough for you. If not, just let me know and we'll go further with it. The other thing I wanted to bring up is, if you are not a member of the Relax and Learn Guitar membership and you would like your questions answered and listened to, then you can head over to relaxandlearnguitar.com and learn how you can join the membership. And I do get back to folks, even when we have technological gremlins that are trying to keep us from communicating. I will still try to talk back with you and get back with you about questions and answers for anything that you have come up. So again, the membership's the perfect area to kind of do that in. And so if you haven't checked it out, please do that. So if there's not been, got another one. Jim, do you always have to make it look so easy? Sorry. Not sure how to answer that one. I play a lot. It's something I love doing, and I'm glad I can try to make it look easy for folks. You can do it. You can do it too. You don't have to put pressure on yourself. You don't have to get there right away. It's kind of, taking steps to get there. But eventually, if you're playing and putting time in for it, and you've got someone kind of helping show you the way and kind of what to do next, you definitely can get there. But thanks, that made my day with that comment there. So let's see, I'm going to wait a little bit. And the other thing I wanted to tell for, I got Jim out there and Bill. I can't scroll down further. I know Bob was on here earlier. I just want to thank you guys for joining the membership. It's been great working with you guys in there, and I'm hoping, and I really try to serve people there and do well with it. So if there's things you'd like to see there that are not there, just let me know, and I'll work on that and put it on the list. Robert, great job, Kevin. Love the lessons. Oh, cool. So Robert says he loves the lessons and songs, so that's good to hear. There's actually a new one coming out tomorrow in the membership. So those of you watching, a little preview, got some Creedence Clearwater Revival, another popular request from them, a song from them. So you guys in the membership can look for that tomorrow. It'll be ready for you. And Jim, yeah, you guys are welcome. Very much welcome. So the other thing was one other thing to share before I go. I woke up this morning to an email from, I think it was Donald that sent it to me, that I accidentally sent an email reminder for a 7 a.m. Q&A. So he was like, did you mean 7 p.m.? And I said, yeah, sorry about that. So I'm sorry to folks if you got emails from me that were way too early in the morning. I've never done a 7 a.m. Q&A or workshop. I would definitely have to get up a little earlier, make some coffee, hang out with you guys. Maybe we'll do that in the future. I don't know if there's any early birds out there. So I just want to show that too. So thanks, Don, for letting me know that so I could correct it really quickly. All right. So I think we're going to wrap things up. It's a little past 7:30. Again, thanks for joining. Thanks for watching tonight. I've enjoyed talking with you guys. If I didn't get to questions or you have one, pop it in the comments, and you can check out the Facebook page for the answers there. And for members, you can always get in touch with me by email or in the membership, and I will definitely get back to you. So you guys have a good night, and I will see you for the next Q&A. All right? Take care.